I'm just a very small service provider at this point. I became a pre-approved, what they call a pre-approved vendor for Community Living BC, which is our crown corporation in British Columbia that's funded through our ministry for social development and social innovation. And so I was approached. So I have, a handful of clients. And up until recently, it was mostly just me that was providing the direct one-to-one community support services. I was approached by Community Living BC to see if I would be interested in applying for a grant to get one of the wheelchair vans. And what had happened was they had sent me a link to Move Mobility and said, would you be interested, are you interested in a van, in a wheelchair van? And so I said, yeah, of course, So we went through the process of applying and I received a grant through Community Living BC. So what had happened was I contacted, the first person I believe I contacted was Simon. And so because I've only ever, this has sort of been my first few years of being sort of in as a service agency itself. I've worked in the field for a long time, and I've worked for other service agencies who have always had their own wheelchair equipped vehicles, and so so I at the time I thought, that we were going through Move Mobility. Like I didn't know much about, I had never heard of Move Mobility, of course, and then and I'd never looked for a wheelchair van before, or so I talked to Simon, and we talked a bit about how to go through the process of determining sort of the cost, so that we could put in a sort of a preliminary invoice into CLBC so that I could apply for the grant. And so that's where that sort of the process began. Another individual that I was supporting who was in a wheelchair, and prior to getting the van, his access in the community was quite limited. And so we would either go to places where I could push him, or I would rely on his caregiver to drop him off. It didn't allow for a lot of flexibility, not having a wheelchair equipped vehicle. The option of being able to have a larger vehicle where we could potentially have a total of 10 people in the vehicle. That also opened up opportunities for folks, rather than having to take 2 or 3 cars, or that allowed for more opportunities as well. What we do is a focus on connecting to the community, getting out and about, networking with people, building relationships and building friendships, and being out in community. So so that's what that's allowed for, which has been really great. Everybody has a good time. So so it's just allowed for more opportunity where we can be together. And it meant taking, say 1 or 2 or 3 different vehicles, so everybody was separated. Now we can be in one vehicle, which is way more fun. All the folks, they love it. It's easy to load, it's just made a huge difference. It's fast. We get people in. We only have to one person. There's always things to be doing in the community. So so it's making sure that we pick folks up and then get them into the community where they can do things that they're interested in as well. And more importantly, for the folks that I support now who are in wheelchairs, it just makes a difference that now they can get out, they can leave their homes. They're not so isolated. And with the pandemic over the last few years, it's been tough for a lot of people. They've spent a lot of time at home and being isolated. So it's created some new opportunities for people to get out and about. Yeah, definitely. And that's what it's about. It's about connection. It's about creating opportunities for people, and then for them to be able to some autonomy as well, and just some opportunities to have more of a say in some of the things that they do,
Yeah.
know? Rather than, well, we can't do that because we can't get there because we don't have a wheelchair van. You know, now we can
Right.
say, okay, let's do it. Right. And so off we go. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it's quick, it's fast, you load, unload, it's you know, it's great.